I hate it. Arsenal take away the 3 points in the final moments. They go top of the league. I was getting all excited that Arsenal were about to drop points, so I could say if Man United beat Everton, we're only 3 points behind them, but they got the win. And I have to say, I thought Brentford did enough to get the win. I think realistically it was quite harsh on Brentford not to get a point out of today's game because Arsenal were nowhere near their best. But when you have players like Declan Rice and William Saliba in your squad that are just so good, that are just so solid, it's almost like you feel like Arsenal aren't going to concede. It's just a matter of time before when they score. And I don't think they're at their best going forward. They're at the most creativity, but they got the win. And if you're winning those games, you can win the title. It's Fergie do it, Pep do it, Mourinho do it. When they won the title, they'd have these moments where they were the Man United, the Man City, where they were playing this beautiful football and winning convincingly. And then they had moments where you had to go to Brentford away, which might have been West Ham away at Upton Park back in the day, and scrape those 1-0 wins where maybe you don't deserve it. And if you can get those 1-0 wins over the line and scrape them, then you can win the league. And that's what scares me as a rival fan. But I don't think Arsenal are at their best. I will say I think Arsenal are jammy, but they've got players like Declan Rice, William Saliba, Gabriel, that core, that they're scraping those 1-0s over the line. They're winning games. They're getting the 3 points. And that's what title winners do. Even when you don't play well, you get 3 points. You find a way. That is what title winners do. Fergie did it. Mourinho did it. Pep's done it at times. And that's what Arsenal are doing. And it's so infuriating because I was thinking, yes, they're finally going to drop some points. They're finally going to drop some points. And they don't. You know, Bukayo Saka didn't have a great game. He finds the assists. Kai Havertz comes on, looks good, gets that goal. Maybe that could be the start of Kai Havertz's Arsenal career. But the man of the match for me was Declan Rice. We're going to talk about Declan Rice and how good he has been for Arsenal. And I have to say, Brentford away is a difficult game. I know that as a Man United fan because last time we went to Brentford, we lost 4-0. And then we managed to just beat them 2-1 in the dying moments at home. Brentford is a difficult game. I always say games like Brentford and West Ham, they're always difficult games. They're not ones we expect to win 3-4, 5-0. And I think it was very obvious that I think even predicting this game, I did think Arsenal would probably win 1-2-0. So although I don't think Arsenal were at their best, they got the result. There were players that was good. The defence looks good. The defence looks solid. And I think the thing with Arsenal and the biggest thing they have is that Gabriel, Saliba, Declan Rice core, that kind of triangle, that core to their squad, I think for me is the reason they've got the best defensive record in the league. People, when they criticise Arsenal saying they're not at their free-flowing best, I think they aren't at their free-flowing best, which means, they've got another level to step up. They can only get better. But what they do have is that core. They are the best team in the league defensively. They've conceded the least goals out of anyone, and everyone kept talking about how good City's defence was. That Arsenal defence of of Rice, Saliba, Gabriel has been absolutely immense. And that is why Arsenal are top of the league, because yes, they haven't scored as many goals this season. Yes, they haven't been as creative. And I think there's definitely a need for a player to go next to Declan Rice. Man City have Bernardo Silva next to Rodri. And we saw today versus Liverpool how unbelievable Bernardo Silva is. We know how good Bernardo Silva is. But Declan Rice has got Odegaard, who's a good player, but he needs that other guy. Who's going to go there? Because Trossard doesn't really bring in the balance. Kai Havertz, I don't think he's best as a 9, in my opinion. Vieira hasn't been convincing. And I know Vieira was meant to be their Bernardo Silva, but I think what Declan Rice needs is like a Bernardo Silva next to him. And I think that's what Arsenal lack, because I think that's might be a reason for the lack of creativity. I thought Martinelli was poor, really poor today, and Martinelli's normally good. There's definitely issues there in terms of creativity, but we've got to talk about Declan Rice and how good he is. And I did a video on Declan Rice 5 days ago saying Declan Rice is a joke, and I did this whole PowerPoint on why he was so good at West Ham and why he's so good at Arsenal. And the thing that's frustrating about Declan Rice as a rival fan is he never has a bad game. Every single game Declan Rice is good, and every single game he bosses the midfield, and every single game he's in my 3 man of the match contenders for Arsenal. It's infuriating because I generally think if Arsenal didn't have Declan Rice and William Saliba, they would not be near top of their league. They would be a lot lower down, because those two players are, I think, the term world class gets thrown around a lot lately, but I generally believe that Declan Rice and Saliba are world class players, and maybe will establish themselves come end of the season, because I think you've got to be better for a little bit longer to be world class players, because when you're consistently good, unbelievable, that's when you become world class, when you're consistently good. And every single game, Declan Rice is excellent start to finish. And for a 100 million player to come in like that and deliver, Chelsea are probably thinking, oh no, because this was the guy that was destined to go to Chelsea. Chelsea fan growing up, this and that, and never did in the end. Chelsea 100 million Casado looks meh. Enzo Fernandez looks meh. Paul Pogba at United had moments where he was hit and miss with injuries. not many 100 million players land because there's so much psychological pressure, there's so much expectation. But Declan Rice is a 100 million player that has landed. And you think about Grealish going to Man City. Man City were a stable side. He shone in a bitter side. He'll surely only get better going to Man City. And Grealish hasn't landed, and people had that fear with Declan Rice. But the thing about Declan Rice was he was such a good young player that was mouldable and fitted Arteta's system, and had been good for England. That when Arsenal signed Declan Rice, I was full of jealousy. He was the guy that I wanted Man United to sign this summer, and he's showing that. He's colossal. I thought Tomiyasu's really good at the moment. I thought Saliba was good. I thought Zinchenko was just as important, because Zinchenko and Rice are the reason Arsenal won the game. Because if Zinchenko and Rice don't make those clearances, I think Brentford would have been 1-0. I think a fair score would have been 1-1. 0-0, 1-1. Fair score would have been a draw, but you've got Declan Rice, you've got Zinchenko there doing that as well. And I generally think without Declan Rice, without Saliba, Arsenal will be in trouble. They're absolute monsters as well. And I think, Ramsdale looked a little bit shaky. I don't think the defence had that full confidence in Ramsdale, but you've got Declan Rice, you've got Saliba, you've got those leaders, you've got those captains who... Yeah, those goal line clearances were massive for Arsenal. And come into the season, if Arsenal win the title by 1 point, you look at that goal line clearance by Declan Rice and Zinchenko and you think, oh, all right, that's big. You look at that goal line clearance by those two players, you think, that's the difference as well. And someone tweeted it's almost laughable how good Declan Rice is, because he just seems to dominate every game. The way he passes to Odegaard was an example of that. And I think Arsenal definitely missing that midfield profile next to Rice, but that's what causes them to dominate the game. They've got that core, Rice, Gabriel, Saliba, and they need to build upon that. Odegaard's a good player, not playing at his best. Saka's a good player, Martinelli's a good player. But what they need is that another midfield profile. Then maybe they look at the striker, maybe they look at someone else to back up Saka. I always thought they should have got another right winger, because I think they're so dependent on Saka that I feel like if Saka gets injured, they are in trouble. But I think right now, I don't think Arsenal's win was super convincing. I don't think Arsenal was super amazing. But if you're getting the 3 points and you're top of the league, that's the most important thing. I don't think they look better than Man City. I don't think they look better than Liverpool when they play. But they are top of the league. They've had to play Man United and City and all these tough games. They've got a few injuries. I think Partey coming in will improve them. And while I like to say that Arsenal are jammy and Arsenal are lucky and all of this, and I love to say that as a rival fan, if you're top of the league, you're top of the league. You've got your points. When you weren't playing well, you managed to win the games. You managed to beat teams like Man City. When you're top of the league, you're top of the league. And when you've conceded 10 goals, less than anyone else in the league, and your defence has been so good, you've got to look at it like that. So annoying. So annoying. And do you know what? It's horrible for me, because the three teams I dislike the most, Arsenal, City, Liverpool, are the top three. So it's like, do I want Spurs to win so I can hope Spurs win the league, because I know Man United aren't winning the league and I don't want these three teams to win? Or do I want Spurs to lose and just hope Man United can get fourth and then one of these teams I don't like wins the league? I don't know. Anyway, smash a like, smash a subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you next time, and then bye.